Veterans, are you thinking about filing a claim for IU, also known as individual unemployability? In today's video, I am going to share with you some valuable information that will keep your claim from backfiring. Make sure you stick around. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Dwayne. I got a video for that Kimball, United States Army veteran and retired VA rating specialist. Today's video. What do you need to know to keep your claim for IU from backfiring? In today's video, I got a lot of information that I'm going to share with you as it pertains to individual unemployability. But before we get into that information, make sure you click the link in the description section and get signed up for my monthly webinar where I explain the educational services I provide, what I don't do, and how you can work with me. Also, don't forget to pick up your copy of VA Claim Success. When you check out, make sure you use the code TDH15, Tango Delta Hotel 15. The code is only good through my website, but you can pick it up on Amazon. You just won't get a signed copy and you will not get the discount. So, today's video. What can you do to prevent your claim from IU backfiring? Now, IU is very tricky. I hear a lot of people telling veterans, oh, you're this, you're that. Go ahead and file for IU. And they don't totally explain to the veteran about IU. I've actually rated cases where veterans filed claims for IU. And guess what? Had to deny IU and do a proposal to reduce. And they go the opposite way. Don't be that veteran. So the slides that I'm going to share with you today should help you in being successful when it comes to filing that claim for IU. Let's go ahead and get into it. Slide number one. Here in slide number one, M21-1, establishing entitlement to TDIU, okay? To establish entitlement to a total disability rating for compensation based on individual unemployability, IU, the veteran must be unemployable, in fact, unable to secure or follow substantially gainful employment by reason of service-connected disability. All right, let me talk about that for a second. So basically what you're telling the VA on the VA form 21-8940, that's the prescribed claim form for IU, that you cannot work due to your service-connected disabilities. Do not put down disabilities that you're not service-connected for. They're telling you they have to be service-connected, okay? And either meet the scheduler requirements of 38 CFR 4.16 alpha. Don't worry about it. We're going to get into that, okay? Down here in the notes sections. IU is also referred to as total disability based on individual unemployability. TDIU, a lot of people call it TDIU, IU, individual unemployability. It's the same, okay? Marginal employment, to include employment in a protected environment. We're about to get into something new here. Does not preclude a veteran from eligibility to IU benefits. Now, you're probably thinking, wait a minute, Dwayne, I've had people tell me, lawyers, VSOs, other YouTube influencers that are talking about this, you can't work if you have IU. That's incorrect, people. That is incorrect. We're going to get into it a little bit later, okay? Let's keep going. Slide number two. Here in slide number two, this is the 38 CFR 4.16, okay? So in the previous slide, they put it in the M21-1, and it states, total disability ratings for compensation may be assigned where the scheduler rating is less than total, meaning you're not 100% permanent total, when the disabled person is in the judgment of the rating agency. Rating agency, they're talking about RESR's rating specialist, okay? Unable to secure or follow a substantially gainful occupation as a result of service-connected disability. There it is again, service-connected disability, provided that if there is only one such disability, this disability shall be rateable at 60% or more. and that if there are 2 or more disabilities, there should be at least 1 disability rateable at 40% or more and sufficient additional disability to bring the combined rating to 70% or more. For the above purpose of 1 60% disability or 1 40% disability, in combination, the following will be considered as 1 disability. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'm not going to read all 5, but at the bottom of 5, it says additional information. There was some additional information that I didn't put in this slide. So again, 38 CFR 4.16. Make sure you go out there and look at that additional information. Now, let me give you some examples. Let's just say the only condition a veteran is service connected for is PTSD, and at 30%. Am I going to request that CMP exam for IU? Because IU is a claim for increase for the service-connected conditions that the veteran is saying they cannot obtain gainful employment, okay? Yes, I am going to schedule that CMP exam because there's the potential for that veteran to go from 30 to 70%, okay? So I've rated cases where the veteran went to 70% from 30%, but then I had to deny IU. I rated other cases where the veteran went from 30 to 70%, and I granted IU. I've actually rated cases where the veteran went from 30% to 100%, and I granted permanent total status, and I denied the IU. Okay? Now, I believe they will, if you still meet the criteria for IU and you get to the 100% P&T status, I believe the rating decision should say, hey, the IU is moot because 100% P&T is the greater benefit, okay? Let's keep going. Slide number 3. Here in slide number 3, I'm taking you back to the M21-1, okay? Definition: substantially gainful employment, okay? Is defined as employment at which non-disabled individuals earn their livelihood with earnings comparable to a particular occupation in the community where the veteran resides. It suggests a living wage. Now, substantially gainful employment is, look at that second bullet comment, earnings exceeding the amount established by the U.S. Department of Commerce, U.S. Census Bureau, as the poverty threshold for one person. We're going to talk about that again because it's important. A lot of veterans out there, other veterans, or other individuals are telling veterans, hey, you cannot work. That is not true. But my question is, if you're claiming IU, why would you want to go back to work? Okay, that's just my question, but each his own. Let's keep going. Slide number 4. Here's slide number 4, definition, marginal employment. The reason why I'm showing you all these definitions is because if you're thinking about IU, or even if you are service connected at IU, you need to know this stuff. You need to know it, okay? Marginal employment exists when a veteran's earned annual income does not exceed the amount established by the U.S. Department of Commerce, U.S. Census Bureau as a poverty threshold for one person. Different from substantially gainful employment, okay? Just the opposite. On a facts-found basis and includes, but is not limited to, employment in a protected environment. You heard me mention that earlier. We're going to talk about it again, such as a family business or sheltered workshop when earned annual income exceeds the poverty threshold. So basically what they're telling you, hey, you went back to work, you got IU, you went back to work, and you exceed the poverty threshold. But you worked in a protected environment such as a family business or sheltered workshop, okay? On the last slide, that's going to come into play. I'm going to share some value. I'm a huge nugget, okay? Important section. Marginal employment is by definition not substantially gainful employment. So go back and look at the other slide for that particular definition. and marginal employment. So when you're talking or you're thinking about doing this or you're already service connected for IU, you know these definitions, okay? Let's keep going. Slide number 5. Here in slide number 5, here are some examples of protected environments, okay? In the following examples, assume the veteran's income exceeds the poverty threshold. So they're saying, hey, like in the last slide, you're service connected for IU, but you work in a protected environment and your income exceeds, okay? It's above the national poverty level. Example number 2, a veteran works in a business owned by the veteran's high school friend. The veteran can take breaks or time off when the veteran's service-connected disabilities flare up. This is an individualized factor that may indicate the veteran is employed in a protected environment. Now, I know a lot of you are going to ask me, Dwayne, well, I work here, well, I work there. Is that considered a protected environment? All raters may look at this a little bit different, okay? So just look at some of these examples. If you fall in this example, what I'm going to share with you, if they ever ask you, okay, about you making more than a poverty threshold, you will be able to explain it, okay? I got you covered. Let's keep going. Slide number 6. Here's slide number 6. Now, I'm not going to go through all this, but I'm going to just give you some commentary on it, okay? Limitation of ability in IU determinations, okay? So you see all the different things, the factors and stuff like that. On that 8940, it asks you, what is your highest grade level completed, okay? 12th grade, 9, 10, 11, 12th grade, bachelor's, master's, PhD, stuff like that, okay? Think about this. If you have a veteran that is just a bricklayer, that's laying brick, building houses, right? And they're up and down a scaffold, and they have a 12th grade education. And they have been doing that for, let's just say, 15, 16, 20 years. They're service connected for, let's say, their knees and their back, some other joints, maybe PTSD as well. And they can no longer do that work for whatever reason, okay? They can't do it anymore. They come in, they file a claim for IU, okay? Raters should be looking at these factors: the education level, high school, okay? They've been doing that all their life, basically. And they can't go out and do something different, like, hey, go teach a physics class, all right? So these are things that the rater should be taking into consideration. Now, let's just say you have an individual that has a PhD in education, and they've been teaching for 20, 25 years at a local university. And they have a back condition, they're service connected for PTSD, they can't stand up like they used to. Maybe they have their service connected for bilateral knees, okay, or hips or whatever, and then their PTSD is getting worse and it's hard for them to interact with their students in person, okay? Is it hard for that person to find a job like opposed to the person that's a bricklayer? Probably not, but maybe they need to work in a protected environment, which is their home, and they can only do classes by video because they may need a desk where they may need to stand up from time to time or sit down or just say, hey, I can't work today, and they can just take breaks as needed, okay? So that's when I look at this M21 manual reference, that's what I would look at when I was rating cases for IU. Let's keep going. Slide number 7. I know this is a lot of slides. I apologize, but people, veterans, this is valuable information, and this is what I do on my channel by educating you on this stuff. So if you're still watching, okay, you're not one of those veterans that say, oh, he's not talking about anything, and they clicked off, go ahead and leave me a bunch of fire emojis in the comments section, okay? That means you're letting me know, hey, Dwayne, I really appreciate what you're doing on your channel by educating us on these different topics, okay? Another M21-1 manual reference, monitoring changes in employability status. This is important, people, because I've seen unseasoned raters, when a veteran comes in, they say, hey, I'm working, and even though that amount is under the poverty level, they still do a proposal to sever IU, and in most cases, it's incorrect when they do it, okay? So if you're already service-connected, you want to make sure you look at this information. Changes in the employability of veterans for whom entitlement to individual unemployability, IU, is established. It means you're already service-connected for it. Are monitored through yearly Social Security Administration SSA wage data match. They're looking, people. They're verifying this, meaning the VA. A veteran who is identified as having verified earned income over the poverty line and is also in receipt of IU will be sent a due process letter and VA Form 21-4140 employment questionnaire with an accompanying VA Form 21-4138 statement in support of claim. Now, when you get this, you're going to be like, man, what I do? Don't worry about it. I got you covered because I got a video on it. Remember those previous slides when we talked about substantially gainful employment, protecting the environment, marginal employment? Go back and look at that definition. We talked about protected environment. If you work in a protected environment, like a school friend, like a high school friend's business, something like that, that's what you're putting on the 4138. Yes, I made over the poverty threshold, but I was working in a protected environment per M21-. That's what you put. Now, when you go to the M21-1, you'll see the slides that I'm showing, there's more information because a lot of this information cannot fit on one slide. You just write with one of the examples that I showed you. If you fall in that category, write the same thing. Use the VA's regulations and references in your favor, people, but you have to know about it. That's what I do on my channel. I'm educating you, all right? Let's keep going. Well, wait a minute. The bottom bullet comment, the veteran will be required to identify and explain earned income via VA Form 21-4140. That's what I'm talking about. Those protected environment, that's how you explain it, okay? You're going to get an unseasoned rating. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, you made more than a poverty threshold. Oh, we got to, terminate your IU. And you're going to say, no. I'm subscribed to who? Dwayne. I got a video for that Kimball's YouTube channel. And he said, do this per your M21-1 reference. Let's keep going. Slide number 8. And I promise this is the last slide, okay? So discontinuous of monitoring for changes in employability status, okay? So at some point, they're gonna be like, you know what? We're gonna stop monitoring veterans that have the IU. And here's when they do it. Okay? Monitoring changes in employability status is not required when the veteran has not been identified in the SSA data match as having verified earned income above the poverty line, has an IU rating that has been in effect for 20 years or more continuous years, or has had an IU rating replaced with a 100% scheduled evaluation. So again, monitoring changes in employability status is not required. So they no longer are required to verify if you're working, if you exceed the poverty level, if you don't, in these 3 instances, okay? So again, this is why it's important, especially if you're service connected for IU, you understand what goes on, because if they send you a letter proposing to sever because you went back to work, you need to know before you go back to work what can happen and what is not supposed to happen. Now, I know that was a lot of information on IU, but keep in mind, people, when you come to my channel, this is what I'm doing. I'm educating you. When you buy my book, I'm educating you. When you sign up for my monthly veterans membership, that's what I'm doing, educating you, arming you with the knowledge you need to know to fight back, okay? That's very important. Again, I'm not going to apologize for all these slides, but if you're still watching, go ahead and give me, I don't want to say fire emojis, I already use that. Put at least 10 ones in the comment section. Let me know if you're still watching and you are enjoying these VA claim nuggets that I am dropping. With that being said, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and as always, share this video with your fellow veterans. Thank you.